Hi guys, and welcome back to another update. So just having a look at Bitcoin just now, which is currently testing this $55,000 support line. It has been testing it a few times, as you can see recently. It seems to be quite volatile just now ever since this massive dump at the weekend. So it's making all sorts of M's and W patterns here, so it's not quite settled like I would like to see, but so far it does seem to be staying strong on this line. So hopefully once the traditional markets open just shortly, it'll head up in a positive way. So, but not to worry about this, guys. I mean, it's just a wee bit of a temporary setback, but don't worry about it. It's got strong support levels. Even if it was to fall down here, you can see with these previous support round about the 53, 54. So for it to fall, it's going to recover quite quickly as it comes down, I think, with these levels. And again, the next one down is probably about the 52, 53, and then failing that 55. This massive wick down was caught and bought straight back up again, so that shows it's still a very good investment, and we're still in a bullish market. So still got to keep positive, guys, even with these down days. You've got to remember, if you look back even just a few weeks, we're way back down here, down at the 40s, we're down at 30s, 40s just a few months ago. So yeah, this is a bit of a setback, but not to worry. I think partly to do with this, I know they were saying about the over leveraged trades and various other bits of news, but I think a lot of the time it could be just investors taking profits and putting it into other coins ultimately, because even though we're seeing these drops, we're not really seeing a big drop in the overall market cap. So even if you look at, say, DeFi, you're still seeing big gains here coming in. So the money's just transferring about. It's not getting taken out of the space at all. It's just been moved into other coins, and I'm doing the same. You don't want to keep all your eggs in the one basket here. You don't want to be sitting here with too much sitting in Bitcoin. Yes, it's a good safe hedge, a good bet that it's going to be an overall safe investment. But in the meantime, in a bull market, you want to be spreading your money about a wee bit. You want to be extending your portfolio, and this is a perfect opportunity where some of the prices are, I would say, a bargain, 10-20% down. So the last few days I've been just sitting looking through some of the coins to see where you've got to try and predict. You can look at the news and look at all the different things coming out, but you've got to try and predict where the money's going to be flowing down to next. So if the money's coming out of, say, Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's going to be moving down the list because people want to see big gains like everyone else. So where you might not be getting the 10, 20, 30% gains on Bitcoin and Ethereum, you move down the list and you start to see some of these gains. So I've been buying up some of these coins recently, where perfect buying opportunity, like I say, like some of these other coins have been dropping down. Yesterday morning it was sitting at quite a good price, and then some of these have came back up again 20-30%. So if you held your money in the Bitcoin, you wouldn't really be earning it. You wouldn't be losing a great deal, but you wouldn't be earning a great deal of extra either. So if you look at, say, you look at the top one, right? Obviously the top one is the Bitcoin. So that's where a lot of the highs and lows will be fed from, is the Bitcoin. So where that's kind of stagnant, and when I say stagnant, yes, it's been bouncing about, but it's bouncing about between these lines. So over the last wee while, it's kind of just been sitting in the same sort of level, round about the 55 to 57,000 level. So if we get a bounce off this, yes, it's going to be a nice wee wick up, a wee bounce up, but it's not going to be going exceptionally high. I mean, even if it did a 10% gain, away up here, realistically in one bounce it's probably not going to do that. Where if you go further down the line, if you go to some of these ones where you're seeing the 10-20% gains, like this pancake swap, this would have been an excellent investment yesterday. This was down about the $21, so we're seeing a nice wee bounce where if you had kept that in Bitcoin, you'll not see this sort of return, you'll not see this sort of gain. So what you could do is you could have bought this pancake swap, say when it was at the 21, and then get a nice wee 23% gain, and then even transfer it back into Bitcoin, and it gives yourself a nice wee boost. So I always think, guys, don't just sit with the Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yes, it's nice to hold some of that, but in a bull market you don't want to be sitting with too much of that at the moment. Yes, if it's making you a nice wee passive income, by all means sit on a nice wee pile of it if you can. But my advice is, well, I can't, it's not advice, I'm just saying what I'm doing just now. I'm actively looking at where my money would be best to be sitting at the moment, especially when the Bitcoin is just sitting a bit undecisive in where it's trying to be. Another two good bets, even if you were to split between the Polkadot and Cardano, this seems to be a bit of a race to see who's going to come out on top. I think that these two are basically going to be sitting side by side for a long time. I can't see there being much of a difference. They're both very good in their own way. So even if you were to divide it between those two, still a safe bet. But overall, you'll probably outperform Bitcoin at some point in terms of percentages, and then maybe at the end of the bull market, at the end of this year, start then maybe putting some back into the Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Binance seems to be in a bit of a tear again this morning. It has came down slightly. It was sitting about the 590 when I looked earlier, but you wonder where this is going to go. Is this going to be competing for market cap like Ethereum? Is it realistic to get to this sort of 250, 260? Realistically, it's only going to do another 3x to get to that position. So it could. It just seems to be in a tear just now. Excellent investment if you'd bought back in January when it was only about $12-13. You'd have been way up in your money today. You'd have probably been about a 20x or something you've probably done on that. So excellent if you manage to buy in at that sort of level. Dogecoin is finally seeming to cool off. That just seems to be insane at the moment where it was going. I think the market cap was up about 55 billion a few days back. So yes, that seems to be cooling off. One of the other ones was SafeMoon, seems to be one that is drawing everyone's attention just now. With this one, you have to buy through the top one for liquidity certainly is Pancake Swap. So if you were to trade hold your BNB against that for on the Pancake Swap, you could buy yourself some of this. It does seem to be dropping at the moment, but you're always going to get that, guys, on big if it seems to be increasing quite quickly on one particular day. If you're maybe seeing like a 40-50% increase, don't try and FOMO into that at that sort of level, because it will be retracing. It will never continue at that sort of momentum. Like when you see in this parabolic run, it's not going to continue up there forever. Don't try and get in up here. If you're going to do it, wait till it's a wee bit of a correction and then continue on. Try and not buy it at the top, at the highest point it's been, because it will definitely retrace on that. So this would maybe be now a good time to try and get in, now that it's retraced a good wee well, it was sitting about 40%, so say it's retraced about 30% since yesterday, so now would be a good time to try and get in on that. So there is still plenty of opportunity to buy, these coins. So yes, we're having a bit of a slight down day again on the Bitcoin, but if you look down the list, there's definitely still opportunities. So you've got your Pancake Swap, you've got a few other coins. There's a few finance coins starting to creep up a wee bit as well, I've noticed. Voyager, that seems to be a good one at the moment to get in on. Cotty, this is doing a nice wee burst just now. But again, guys, just be careful on trying to FOMO in when it's at these sort of percentages. I know it's not a massive gain when you look at the small market cap, and yes, overall this will be going up to the billions. Cotty has a lot of good things coming for it, so yes, overall long term this would be a good one to hold. But if you're just FOMOing in just for a quick wee gain, just be mindful that these do retrace back. So yes, I've also noticed that StormX, I've been holding StormX for quite some time and it wasn't really doing a great deal. But if you have a wee look, no, sorry, not StormX, Chiliz, that's starting to come up slightly there. I've noticed we're starting to see a bit of a run again. So yes, even if it could get up to its 80 cents, even to $1 in this go, this would be a nice wee gain to be had. It's been cooling off. This is what you want to see, guys. You don't want to be trying to get an up here. You want a nice wee retrace, a wee cool back, a wee cool down, sorry, and then hopefully another wee take off. So you've just got to keep in mind that this money is transferring down the list. So where there's not the best opportunities at the top, start looking down the list, guys, and you'll see there's opportunities everywhere. Every day there will be opportunities. VeChain's another one to keep an eye on. This is going to take off as well soon. There's a lot of good things coming out for this. Filecoin, you're getting a good, if you want to just sit and stake some of your coins, you're getting 39%. And Binance just now holding on to this for, I think it was a 15-day one, but still a nice wee return, 40%. This one here, this has just been announced on KuCoin. You can now pick this up on KuCoin. This is to do with this cyber security, which is obviously a bit of a concern just now with some of the negative news you see. But yeah, I think that this one's going to do pretty well, I would say. If you just go to the ticker symbols, HAI, it's not on the big exchanges as of yet. Yeah, well, the KuCoin has just been announced. I suppose this is a bit of a one that you could maybe say would be able to push the price up a bit, but not quite as much as what maybe your Coinbase and your KuCoin could do. But I think it's got potential, this one. It's still below the previous all-time high, so it's got a good wee run to go just to at least get to that point. So even if you were just to come in at this price up to your 45, you're 2x in your money, and I think this will happen just shortly. I think this one is one to watch. So yeah, I mean, just have a wee look at all these calendars. You'll see all the ones creeping up into the top 100. Just keep an eye. You can go obviously back down the list. There's over 9,000 of these, but the lower down in the lower market cap, you've got to weigh up the risk. Yes, it's potentially get the big gains, but you've just got to weigh up the risk. Is it worth putting money into some of these lower caps just now? Just do your due diligence and just make sure you're doing your research and you're just not FOMOing in because you're seeing a price surge, because this is how you'll end up losing money, because the price will retrace a certain amount, so it could be a long time before you can make up your money again. So just keep an eye on that, guys. It's just very risky, some of these lower cap coins, because they're not all going to do well. Just don't think because they're there and they're on these exchanges they're going to do well. So There's over 9.5 almost thousand of these coins now. They're not all going to do well, and they're not all going to do these massive gains like you see. So just bear in mind that if you are new to this whole crypto space, just keep an eye out on certain ones. Just do your research, see who's behind these, and you might see some familiar faces where some of the ones that are coming up, they were already involved in, say, Ethereum. Like you've got your Cardano. One of the developers for Cardano has previously set up Ethereum. So as long as if you see these familiar faces coming from some of the big ones, and the reason they're coming out of the big ones is because they can see potential, that there's maybe some things not quite 100% in the bigger ones, where they're setting up these ones to try and sort out the issues that, say, Ethereum has. So this is why these have got massive potential. They're not going to overtake probably the market cap of Ethereum, but they're still going to do potentially a 4 or 5x from its current price. So in terms of percentage gains, you'll probably outperform Ethereum by holding these ones. And if you're to look down the list, you'll just see the same. You know, you'll see the bigger gains. Neo, that was a bit of a run at the weekend, and that's starting to cool off. But again, don't worry about it cooling off. It's not to say that the project's still not got room to grow. It's just it's got to cool off. It's maybe, again, investors taking profits and just transferring them into other coins, because you don't want to just sit on one coin and hopefully it just continues to rise. You want to try and move it about, and I know it's a bit of a headache sometimes trying to predict where the money's going and trying to keep up with it. It is hard, and it's almost like a full-time job just trying to research them all and keep ahead of where the money's going. And this is what you want to do. You want to try and get in there before it does the 30-40% gains, but it's really hard to try and predict where the money's going. So this is why I say, if you spread out some of your portfolio over a lot of these coins, then you don't need to spend a lot of time sitting predicting it, because at some point these gains will be coming into your portfolio, because they're all going to move up at some point. All these good projects, especially in the top 25, they're all good projects and they will be moving up. So it's not going to just blast off overnight most of the time, but it will. If you're in there for the next at least few months or to the end of the year, you'll be seeing your portfolio steadily growing, and it is good to see this. It's definitely good to see that these coins are moving up. But you could do the safer bet and just buy the ones that's getting the staking and the interest. You could hold it. You could hold some of your money in, say, Swissborg, where you're getting daily interest at 34% if you're on the platinum account. Same with Nexo. If you hold the platinum, if you hold 10% in Nexo coins, you're going to get the maximum amount of percentage and interest. And also, if you take out a loan, you just hold your coins as collateral, and then they'll give you half back as the loan amount. Interest is paid daily on the loan, and you'll only pay 5.9% interest per year. So not one of these coins would probably be sitting there for a year and not be getting at least your 5% gains. Or if you just want to hold it in, say, Binance, some of these you're getting up to your 30-40% interest. So even if you were to take the loan out and put it into some of these high interest earning accounts in Binance and Swissborg and KuCoin, then you're going to outperform what you're paying in the loan. So even if the coin doesn't go up much in value, your interest will still cover what you're paying for the loan. So you've got to weigh up all these options. There is still plenty of options out there, guys. Just do your research, see what's out there, and and I think you'll do well. I think everyone's going to do well in this bull market. I think if you don't do well, there's something really wrong with your your mindset, where you want to be. Are you moving about coins too quickly? Are you not holding them long enough? But I think if you just keep an eye on the circulating supply, market caps, and you'll see, you could almost predict where some of the money's going to fall down to from the top ones. I'm trying to avoid this Dogecoin because it is going to come down at some point. It's not going to continue and see these gains at some point. Maybe this is one of the reasons why Bitcoin's been hit just now. Maybe a lot of investors were taking them profits out of these and firing it into the Dogecoin when they were seeing the FOMO. It's hard to tell, but it's good to see this cooling down because there's no projects behind it. I think they've just put it into KuCoin, and you can do the Autobot trading on KuCoin. That is a good idea with the Autobot doing that. You just put in your information, what you want to do with the trading, and it's basically just going in and out of trades on its own, which is probably, it's going to predict the market changes quicker than you would do yourself. So again, if time's an issue and you don't want to spend a lot of time looking at these markets, then just take yourself over to KuCoin and put in this Autobot trading. It's certainly a good idea, and I think it's going to come to more of these exchanges. Binance doesn't have it yet, but I think it's only time will tell. But I think it will have its own version of it at some point. Binance is an amazing platform. It's just got so much going for it in terms of the launch pads, the launch pool, the staking, the farming, the futures trading. You've got your spot trading. You've got so many options on Binance, and this is why we're getting a big increase in this market cap recently, because it's if Coinbase was valued round about the same level, Binance has a lot more going for it than Coinbase, so it's justified that the market cap is at this level. But KuCoin is they're starting to implement more things into their exchange as well, and their market cap is only sitting about 1.5 billion. So I'm predicting at least a 15x on that. I've just put some more into KuCoin myself, just because I think it's only time before this, but investors realise that this KuCoin's got potential as well, because it's still a way down here in the market cap. But you see there, it was sitting at 1.5, now sitting at 1 billion. So, and this is a very similar exchange to Binance, which is sitting at almost 90 times more valuable than KuCoin. So I think that this has got a massive amount of room to grow, where if you were trying to hedge a bet against between this and Binance, I would say that that would be the better bet for in terms of gains, because this has got a lot of room to grow, and I think it will. I think it definitely will be growing soon. It's not quite getting to that sort of level yet, but I think only time will tell. Reserve rights, this is another one to keep an eye on. I think, you'll be able to see yourself, guys, that all these market caps will be starting to come up. You'll start seeing everything moving up. It'll separate the good ones from the bad ones. If it's a bad project, it's not going to last too long. It's going to start dropping back down the list. So keep an eye on the ones that are gradually coming into this top 100. And you can't go wrong. I mean, if you look down the list of the top 100, there's some excellent projects in there. I think it's definitely a safe bet to hold some money in these, as opposed to just holding fiat currency. I think that this is the future, to hold the money into some of these coins, these safe exchanges. Just be mindful in the exchanges that you're putting the money into. There is still a lot of scammers out there. Just watch these when you're clicking on these links and things, that it doesn't take you to somewhere else. Just make sure that you're definitely being safe out there. It's a bit risky at times with some of these scammers. They're doing very clever in the way they're putting these things in there just to trick you, just to try and get your money. Ultimately, you know, it's just try and be safe and keep to the main exchanges, and just be careful when you're transferring between the exchanges, with like when you're putting in your copy and pasting your address, your crypto address, for moving say USDT from one to the other, or Bitcoin from one to the other. Make sure that like your ERC20 is compatible at both exchanges, and make sure that if you're transferring say USDT into USDT, make sure it's that address you're using as opposed to say USD into a Bitcoin, or vice versa. Because if you don't put in and you don't watch what you're doing, this money could get lost so easily transferring between these exchanges. So you've just got to be very careful, double check that you're doing it right, and double check that you're transferring the correct address into the correct address, because like I say, that these things can go wrong very easily. Same with like if you're transferring into say Pancake, Uniswap, just be very careful. And when you're transferring the addresses and everything, or if you're moving it to a MetaMask or out or in, just always be careful, guys, because if this gets lost, if your portfolio gets lost, very little chance of recovering it, because they'll just class it as being your error with not paying attention to the addresses and such like. Yes, you can see like your trading and exchanging history on these exchanges, and you'll be able to see the transfer going in and out. But if it goes out and it's going to the wrong address, ultimately it'll probably be lost. I don't suppose you'd have a leg to stand on to try and claim that back. It's not like a bank where you can go into a bank and complain about this and it's covered. It's all right if you're holding it on these exchanges, then you're insured with their insurance, with their custodian. But if you're transferring it between exchanges, you could easily lose it if you don't pay attention. So when you're doing that, just make sure you're doing the copy paste of the addresses, but just don't write it down. There's just far too many letters and numbers involved where you can so easily make a mistake. Just copy and paste it, and you'll do well. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity, guys. There's plenty of money to be made. So just be careful. And yeah, I mean, it was just another wee update. I've just kind of ran on a wee bit there, but yeah, just keep an eye on everything, guys, and we'll get there in the end. So if you can do just a wee subscribe and like to my channel, please, guys. And I haven't put a video on for a couple of days, and it's trying to juggle the time between everything to try and dedicate more time to doing the channel. And it would be good to try and build it up, and a bit of support would be certainly excellent to see. So yes, just a wee like, and any comments, guys. If there's anything you want me to talk about in the future, another video, I certainly don't mind having a wee look and seeing what my viewers are looking for in terms of do you want to see more technical analysis? Do you want me to talk about more coins? Do you want me just to stick to Bitcoin and Ethereum? Because I've got this trading view with the market cipher, and I've got different indicators I could put on as well. If you want me to have a wee look at different things or explain what this is, I'm trying to cover all different things and not get too bogged down in each thing in case you're not really interested. I could spend maybe 15-20 minutes talking about technical analysis, but if you're not really interested in too much of that, then this is why I'm trying to cover all different things, just to kind of spread it out a wee bit and not just be too boring in terms of talking about the same thing all the time. So, but if there's anything you want me to cover in the next video, just drop me a wee comment, guys. Now, see ya.